Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Annike's Quest. My name is Anneke. Today is about day 2 at Wonderwool Wales. I have no idea if I am going to cover the entire day in one sitting or not, because it turns out it's an awful lot of work. So I will show you some video clips, some stalls, and of each and every one I will try to put links in the description about who owns the stall and how to get in touch with that particular company, so that if you feel inspired, or if you want something that you see, you can go after it. So without further ado, enjoy. This is Genie Bags. She is a lovely lady. We had a very amazing, insightful conversation. The designs are her own. She's from a farm somewhere up north. I can't remember where. But by all means, if you're in the market for bags, have a look at hers. They are amazing. This is the Wonky Weaver. They've got an amazing selection of different types of weaving looms, from easy to more complicated, from small to big, with all the accessories. They've got some accessories for spinning wheels, although I don't think they had a spinning wheel with them. I'm not sure about that. There seems to be an e-spinner there. Anyway, lots of things. They've got things for dyeing as well, and all sorts of shapes and forms and colours and ways of dyeing. So if you're interested in any of that, go forth and have a look at their website. This is Garthenor Organic Limited. It's by Jonny King and Sally Davies. They're certified organic, climate positive yarn, sourced, spun and dyed in the UK, and it's traceable from sheep to shelf and entirely breed specific. And as you can see, they've got some Cotswolds wool as well, and it's lovely, soft and amazing. And yeah, by all means, check them out. A sock machine, yay! This has been on my list for such a long time, and I was so delighted to see someone actually working it. So this is Megan Davies. She lives in Shetland. She's not from Shetland, but she lives there now, and she has a whole stall with lots of socks and sock yarn, and she brought her knitting machine. And what you see here is quite a long video of me watching her, making socks on this machine. And I can't remember when I first saw this, and I thought it was the bee's knees. I've looked into it since, and on and off. I don't have the expertise to renovate or restore one by myself. They are newly available. But they're quite expensive. Anyway, as I said, I was delighted to meet Megan. She was very patient with answering all my questions. And she's doing the leg part here. As you can see, that are weights, which she hangs on the knitted fabric to kind of pull it down. Otherwise, the knitting would come off the needles, similar to how a flat bed knitting machine works. If you look closely, every so often the knitting looks different, and that's because she deliberately takes out knitting needles to create an effect that kind of pulls the leg part in. And this is where she puts those missing needles back, so that from the leg bit it goes to the ankle, and then later on she will be creating the heel. Really, she was very patient. It had been very busy that day, and the day before she had made a long tube of socks, and that particular day she'd only done 1.5 pair or something like that. So a little bit of background. It are hand-cranked socks made on a 1920s circular sock machine, and she uses either 100% pure Shetland wool or 75% superwash wool yarns, as well as craft supplies and traditional Shetland equipment. As I said, she's just put back the needles, and she's, make sure that the yarn catches all the needles to go round. She makes a wedge heel. Apparently the machine can handle a rounded heel as well, but she'd never done a rounded heel. So she does a wedge heel, which means that she does short rows, which you will see in a bit, where she will take up half the needles and she will go up and down, rather than round and round. She has lived in Shetland for about 4 years. She went to Shetland Wool Week and proverbially never returned. She did return for a bit, because Shetland Wool Week is the end of September, beginning of October, and she went over to live there in January, so it took her a couple of months. Here you can see she's lifted the needles that she doesn't want to use at this moment in time, so that she can do short rows for the heel. So initially she will go up and down, and every time she will push one extra needle up, so it's out of the rotation. And yeah, then after a while she'll go the opposite direction, and all the needles become in use again. She does teach. I don't know if that's a regular thing. She's most probably going to teach in this year's Shetland Wool Week, which would be an added bonus if I were to go. But in the meantime, my life has changed a bit. One of the jobs is falling away, and another job is on the horizon. I'm also in the process of applying for on-call firefighter, which is a long process, and I can fail at every stage, which in itself wouldn't surprise me. But so there's a lot going on this coming couple of months, and I'm not sure if Shetland Wool Week is on the cards anymore. I'll have to look into various schedules. She's now going the other way, which means she's pulling up one needle on one side and pushing down 2 needles on the other side, and then go to and fro, and then in the end all the needles are down again, and she does it that way, otherwise you would end up with little holes on the side of the socks. Once she is done with the heel, and she can go round and round again, it is a certain amount of going round for the length of the foot, and the toe will be done exactly the same as the heel. Can't quite envisage how that's going to look. I've kind of very quickly seen the tube of socks, because she keeps on knitting, So it becomes a very, very long tube with, you know, sock-like things, which she then has to cut loose in some shape or form, and she has to finish the toe, and she has to finish the cuff. And, you know, she didn't get round to doing that. Yeah, as you can see, this is going around for the foot part, and honestly, you cannot knit this fast. It's a game changer if you want to knit socks, and at the moment I've got no desire to knit socks on normal needles, just because it's too much work, and you have to knit too. I would be forever on Sock Island, or I would be walking around in odd socks just because I can't be bothered to knit a second one of the pair. So here she pulls up half of the needles again in order to make the toe. Yeah. Oh, and then she separated later on with the bright coloured yarn you see in the front. I don't know if she adds weights or takes weights off. It looked like she was adding weights. Anyway, doesn't really matter. What else can I tell about this? It was just lovely. Oh, someone asked how many socks do you make in one go, since it is one big long tube. And usually she's got a bucket underneath her table, and she goes on until the bucket is full, or that's a quick look of the yarn she's got. So she keeps on knitting until the bucket is full, or if she's got a special order, she'll just stop knitting at a certain point, and she will cast on the special order she's got. In the meantime, one of the guys of Wonky Weavers, am I saying that correctly? Yes, Wonky Weaver, joined, and they were having a lively discussion because he's got one of those machines and he can't quite get it to work. So she was giving some advice on what could possibly be wrong, and tips and tricks how to get it right. And apparently there are Facebook groups for people who knit socks on this type of machine. And yeah, if you take a video and you post it in the group, someone will tell you what's wrong and what to do about it. I find it just fascinating, as you can see. Otherwise I wouldn't have taken this much footage. But yeah, it's one of those things. So yes, you will find her details in the description. This is Flora Fibres yarn from Catriona Stevenson. And Flora Fibres produces a range of naturally dyed plant-based yarns and spinning fibres. It's perfect for vegans, those with a wool allergy, or anyone wanting to try something new. And I bought myself some tencel, and I'm currently knitting with it, and it feels absolutely lovely and drapey. Curlew Weavers. This is a small family firm in Wales, and they produce all sorts of fabrics. If you want to, there are demonstrations by appointment and free tours around the mill. I didn't catch the man's name, but he was lovely to talk to, and I'm sure it would be a very interesting visit indeed. UK Alpaca Ltd. They've got all sorts of colours. It's amazing. They've got hand-dyed yarn, they've got sock yarns, patterns, kits, they've got socks, all sorts. Just check them out. It's lovely. This is Ellie Smallcombe from Tyddyn Bryn. I may mangle that name, I don't know. She does everything. Vibrant hand-dyed yarns from sheep raised on our small holding, locally spun at the mill 7 miles away, hand-dyed in small batches on wood-fired stove. You cannot get it more quintessential than that. And she makes some lovely patterns as well, which I'm sure are for sale. Look at the scarf she designed. Amazing. Carole Rennison from Hooked by Design. She uses carpet yarn and a fine weave hessian, and the designs she makes are just lovely. She sells it in kits, and there are demonstrations all weekend long. It was lovely to see. Oh, and she wrote a book as well. Corfield from allwoolthatendswool. They're known from their bold and bright collection of hand-dyed yarns. They've got handcrafted wooden yarn balls, colourful stitch markers and yarn cozies, and their stand really stood out for their brightness and boldness of colours. This is the Threshing Barn from Sara Last, and I would say they are just an all-over one-stop shop. They've got just about everything. They supply fibres, they supply yarn, books, spinning wheels, weaving looms, just the lot. Pleasant staff, and yeah, really, really nice. And I was eyeing up those beautiful coloured fibres, and I had to say no, Annika, no. There's also a photo of a tiny spinning wheel with a coffee cup next to it for size. Emilycross ceramics. Those are handmade, wheel-thrown ceramic yarn balls. She also makes other handmade tools for textile artists, but those yarn balls, they are in a league of their own. There are such beautiful, beautiful examples, and they will come up in pictures in a moment. I've taken quite a few of them. They also have two holes close to the bottom so that you can put your needles in without them tipping out. Very clever, very clever. This is Adeleide Walker. She's got British fibres, handmade spindles, spinning accessories, washboards, needle felting, all sorts of wool, wheels, looms, books, dyes and Ashford equipment. And it was just a lovely stall to be nosing around. Marina Skua. As if you've followed me for a while, then you know that this brown sweater is just up my street. Marina hand dyes locally sourced natural fibre yarns in a rich palette of colours and designs knitting patterns inspired by nature, history and culture. And it shows. She was lovely, or she is lovely. We had a nice, interesting chat. And she's got beautiful stuff, beautiful patterns. Go for it. Woven is based in mid-Wales. The things you see here come as small weaving kits, and as you can see, they're inspired by the seasons and landscapes. It's absolutely lovely projects. Nice to get into weaving and yarn, and you get a lovely result. This was a lovely stall. It's called Joe's Toes. It's from Amanda Blackwell, and they've got all sorts of felted things and things to make or mend your own slippers. I think those were made, that you see now are made of leather, but the rest is made of felt. And even from the offcuts, they might make the tiniest bunting. It's so adorable. If you're looking for something special or Christmas decoration or want to make your own slippers, then by all means have a look. This is Sarah Fisher, the felt maker. The blurb says, a colourful collection of handcrafted felt items, including things for the home, clothing and accessories, all wet felted and often highly embellished with silk, giving a vibrant and unique effect. It's hard to describe how beautiful her paintings are. They're not paintings, they're made with felt, but they are absolutely gorgeous. I will end this whole thing with a picture of some trees with birds in it, and for me that was one of the highlights of, for me personally, of her work. And it also concluded my stay at the festival. But what a highlight to end on. I'll hope to go back next year, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you enjoyed it, please thumbs up, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll see each other next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.